Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first Gen.G and Galorants game night. I am ArrumieShannon here once again with my phenomenal co-caster Zobi. And we are so excited to bring you this first in a bi-monthly series of game nights.
Yes, today is hosted by Gen.G Esports and Galorant. They're the ones hosting this every other month in-house, and we are joined by two amazing teams. We are joined by Chonksters, who are led by the amazing Shannon, if some of you might know, the Jet voice actor. And we have Gen.Z, led by the amazing Kai.
Yep. So, getting into it, this is going to be two best of ones. I believe each game is going to have different teams, same content creators, so that way a whole bunch of people get a chance to play. These are players from both the Gen.G Tiger Nation Discord and the Galorants Discord. Big shoutouts to both organizations. Great organizations doing a lot to help foster just a really welcoming space.
Choose your agent.
And I'm very excited to see the players from both just ready to get into it.
Yep, and looking at this agent select, we have Chonksters starting out on attack and Gen.Z on defense with our first map of Ascent. And we're seeing an Astra in the mix, which, as an Astra player, when I have to default to smokes, it's nice to see her get thrown in. What do you think's interesting about these team comps, Alias?
Reyna's on both teams, always very fun to see. Both teams also matching their player cards, which, I mean, what's a team without matching player cards? As far as Team Chonksters go, a relatively standard makeup. You've got the Duelist, Double Initiator, Smokes character, and Sentinel. Meanwhile, defenders on Team Gen.Z have opted for a double Duelist comp, so is the only Initiator, as well as bringing in the Astra and Chamber, as opposed to the Omen and Killjoy.
Yes, this is definitely going to be an interesting game. Wait, is Shannon playing or is she coaching? I can see somebody with the same name down there.
That's a good question. It does look like Shannon is playing, opting for BlissKai as opposed to the Jet, letting Azuran take that primary duelist role. Yeah. Either way,
See them doing a ritual here on their attack spawn. We'll see if it helps them.
Shaping up to be a very fun night.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be an A hit here. We do have Bliss, however, ready with that mid-aggression towards Cat to make sure they're not pushing. Azuran tries to swing to find the chamber, unable to as he rendezvous out. He being in the chamber. Agent. Gonna head to fall back to site. Angel is gonna come in. Gonna destroy the rendezvous. Gravity Wall is gonna stop some of that offensive power as we then see the rest of the team starting to rotate over from Team Gens.
Push currently being stalled outside of main right now, waiting for util to regenerate. Obviously, the Fade Hunt and the Sky Flash were both used coming out from Team Chonksters, so they're waiting just a little bit to make sure that they can get full util for the site hit. But Team Gen.Z is positioning themselves very well for absorbing. So Azuran finds that first pick.
We're going to see a re-aggression here onto the A side after they get that initial pick. And we did see some early rotation out of Gen.Z towards the A side and then away from it as they kind of stalled out in the game. Now they've taken side pretty effectively with that KJ util. Azuran looking for a pick up in heaven does fall to 3 Flight Skies. And Grass playing an aggressive position here. Button is going to swing and find a pick on the Astra on DVC Aurelia. And is going to push into tree to maybe try and find another, as two members of Team Chonksters are now grouped up in
One enemy remaining.
Jen is able to find
No
Bliss.
chance.
3 Flight Skies trying to make something of this round, does have to fight 5 HP, and it's going to be found from Grass lurking in tree.
Just really nice positioning on the post plant. There was a brief moment where it looked like it could get scary with Bliss finding Azuran and the little bit of an overheat coming out from Azuran. But ultimately, the positions held firm. The raid boss Reyna wasn't quite able to get it done in the end. And Team Chonksters converts their first attack, which is always a very good thing to see when you're playing on Ascent on the attack side.
We do see Azuran forcing the Vandal here. We'll see if it helps him convert yet another round, or if they'll donate that gun. Looks like they're going to have an aggressive peek from mid as that Fade Util does go have to clear out. Cubby decides to fall back, like I said, maybe doesn't want to over-aggress and donate that gun quite yet. We do have the KJ Util watching the fight, and they are going to use both that Prowler and that Leo to gain fight, but the gravity wall does touch one, and now Fade is suddenly left to peak. Falls. BlissKai with the classic.
One enemy remaining.
Damage. And gets a 2K along with a 2K. And just like that, Odessa falls just around with that Vandal fully.
Yeah, it looked like it could have gotten scary at one point because they were running into the stack, 4 players positioned in such a way that they could absorb the site despite being on lower weapons. However, eventually, better purchases came through. Gun advantage ended up winning again. And only one gun dropped with the Trunksters, so they've still got a lot going into this next round.
Yeah, I definitely think Kiko was the one that fell that round. You can see them now opting for a Sheriff, and it was just because that gravity well kind of cut off their push together into B main, and that's when they got the pick from lane. We do see. Oh, we can go.
Got a very early pick on BlissKai. That's a lot of information that's just not available.
The hunt begins.
Spike down.
You see some nice picks, however, off of Megumi from Heaven, and it looks like they are gonna make them have a forced rotate here. KJ Util didn't see anything on the flank, so they are gonna opt to split and go towards mid. We do have Bliss ready and Cubby for this swing. And just like that, the Asher Util is going to come out, maybe stall them mid, play some time. They have 5 seconds on the clock. We are going to have
player
Aurelia
standing.
Swing mid, along
Spike
with Bliss
down
out
mid.
to save Aurelia, as they then kind of fall back, leaving Grass in a 4v1 situation.
Yeah, very good heads-up awareness by Bliss right there, swinging off the contact. Ends up saving their teammate in the end, and now Grass left in the 1v4. Not really a lot they can do right there. No, Odessa's gonna win the fight. 4 rifles saved over Team Gen.G, so they get their first round on board.
Yeah, it was really nice, even though they were bonusing a little bit on the side of Chonksters with the Spectre buys, that Sheriff. It makes sense that it was a round for them to lose, and now we're gonna see Osukiko opting for a Guardian. It looks like they might have messed up their buy a little bit by forcing that Sheriff last round. But ultimately, it's mainly guns and guns. Maybe Osukiko is better with a Guardian, we'll have to see.
Very aggressive positioning coming out from Team Chonksters. Looks like it's going to be they tend to just have all 5 go towards one site. And it doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon. But Odessa's position is very close. Has an opportunity, goes for the pick, but it ends up teleporting out, saving their life in the end. That's a lot of information.
Bring them down.
Now we are seeing now 3 members on site though for Team Gen.G as they try to use their util to aggress this. That Asher smoke is just slowing them down. It looks like they might be getting a flank from Bliss as they're making their way out of Cubby. They are going to be stalled a little bit out. Just waiting, maybe faking a rotate like they did a few rounds ago for the A push. Also, once again leading the charge here. It's going to peek mid, doesn't find one, and instead takes a few. Thunder Dart going to go out, but to spot no one as the Asher smoke gets refreshed. Once again now, 45 seconds about on the clock, and they're just kind of stalled here in B main. Finally opting for a rotate, where we are going to have Bliss with that patience and Cubby still waiting, and we'll see if Grass is able to actually again find the pick. And ArrumieShannon able to get the pick and heal up Grass after that fight. We are going to see some probably mid-aggression here.
30 seconds left
on Arches. And just like that, Grass and Arrumie are able to find both of them that swing out. I wonder if they're going to notice this person A main this.
They drew Odessa away though, so nobody's there to absorb this re-push. Megumi though finds 2 on the A site hold from A main. Spike's dropped and only 10 seconds left.
One enemy remaining
to actually do anything with. Just Megumi left in A main though. Isolates the fight with Osukiko.
Player standing.
And taking out Shannon in the process. And now this 1v1 gets really interesting. Megumi has the better position. Osukiko being forced to peek, but Osukiko can just play time and they have the C's to work with.
Yeah, this spike isn't planted for Osukiko, and it's gonna jump down. Probably gonna play some time somewhere around the Rosie. 7 bullets, and just like that, Osukiko finds the crisp headshot to clutch. This was a 4v2, and it quickly became a 1v1. Like I said, I didn't think they realized that Megumi was an A main, and that was just a very effective little lurk from them. Team Chonksters, I'm surprised they won that round after the the effort Team Gen.G brought.
Yep. However, Team Gen.Z ends up not being able to convert the round, so we are going to be seeing a lower buy. So the Odessa probably just going to rock the Headhunter. Not sure how many bullets they have left in it, but I doubt that they're going to be using classic.
Yeah, we do see the Blade
Megumi
Storm
has
come
access to
out.
the Blade Storm.
You should
Look
run.
at Megumi's position. That's so aggressive down A main. That's a lot of information gained for their team. These late guys end up taking a peek with us around. Can't quite convert the process.
Yeah, we are
Killjoy.
seeing
Spike
a push
down
off
B.
of this KJ util in A main. We are going to see Astra get detained and get taken out by a Suren. We did see BlissKai swing out for a trade off of Astra. Suren was able to dismiss that and find another one. Now with one
Enemy
kill.
remaining.
Now
Oh.
4 tries to go for the ace.
Oh.
Does overheat a little bit. Bliss finds the Sheriff headshot.
Yeah. Bliss left in the 1v3, was a 1v4, able to find one, finds another one on Osukiko. There's a Vandal available for her to pick up.
Yeah, this went from a trying to ace to now almost getting a 4K of their own. If they find this last person, we'll see what happens here. And just like that, Yumika is able to clutch up the round.
2 rounds back to back where Team Gen.Z is so close to snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. There's always been one player left to be able to convert that round for Team Chunksters. And also, there was a Killjoy ultimate invested into that as well. That's an ultimate that they're not going to have for this upcoming gun run. Now, even if they did have it, there is the Hunter's Fury coming out for 3 Flight Skies on the opposite team that can help to negate it. But now, that Hunter's Fury doesn't have a real set use. 3 Flight Skies is able to just use it for whatever they end up wanting to.
Yeah, 3 Flight Sky can use it to deny a plant here as ArrumieShannon and the rest of their team start making their way A main. Megumi is going to find one.
over here.
And we are going to see a kill come out from ArrumieShannon. Like you said, there are 2 ults to work for. We see the first one coming out with the Empress from Asuren, but gets traded by Megumi. And we do have the Seeker still online from Shannon. Aurelia now pushing up mid alongside Sova. Does look like they are going to catch the rotate here on mid. We'll see if they're able to find any. Flash comes out. 3 Flight Sky is able to forced back. He's going to sonar though to see how many they're dealing with up here top mid. The bolt gets destroyed without detecting any. We do see 2 here though towards that tree cubby. And I don't think they know where Astra is. And that Hunter 3 does come out from 3 Flight Skies. Isn't able to find anybody. I kind of doubt that the sonar is next, but ArrumieShannon get a flash again, accidentally flash themselves. And just like
Spike down mid.
It's a spike down with 4 players
30
watching
seconds left.
mid, and Bliss quickly taking the space that was seeded in A main. But now Aurelia has the information, could have gone tiles, but instead they know that
One enemy
A
remaining.
main, and Bliss is there to punish. Finds one on Yumeka and finds the second on Brass. Bliss with a nice double, Megumi with a nice double, and 3 Flight Skies converting that last pick. A second round on the board for Team Gen.Z, and it's just these last 3 rounds or so, it's looked like their positioning has just been so good. They've been taking space that has been given to them, because Team Chunksters just hasn't been spreading out around the map. They've been hunkered down in either A or B main, with a little bit of presence towards mid. And Team Gen.Z has been super aware of that, and they've been really diligent about taking map space wherever they can.
Yeah, that mid control was insane you saw there. And they did it with only 4 players, because we saw Bliss lurking up A main when that rotate came through. And they were able to do what Megumi tried to do a few rounds ago, which was just not to plan altogether.
Get in sight.
This is an uncontested Vandal for us around.
Yeah, nice little gun upgrade. We do see another player again lurking in A main as Odessa finds Suren with that gun upgrade. Maybe they'll be able to pick one up. Yep, Fade going for that Vandal. Will they know that 3 Night Sky is in A main like they had happened a few rounds ago? The blind from home is going to come through, and 3 Flight Sky
down.
keeps off of it perfectly.
Last player
And
standing.
Megumi challenges ArrumieShannon entry to site. Yumeka with a nice one with the Sheriff. Looks to find another and does, but dropped down to 27 health. Does have their ultimate online now to work with if they did want to rotate over and do the little fun omen trick. We'll see what they decide to do. I think they're looking for a gun upgrade before they do that though. And are going to fight Megumi and fall.
just a really nice cross held by Megumi and Odessa. There's pretty much no way that Oyumeko was going to be able to cross that without, at the very least, being noted. So Team Gen.G now on a bit of a roll. They have the tour de force available. If Odessa wanted to drop, instead just going to drop anyways, maybe relying on the tour de force next round. And they have the Cosmic Divide. However, at this point, Team Chongsters has finally been able to convert on that ult advantage that they got by winning those first few rounds. 3 ultimates online, even though 1 is just the Omen ult.
Feeling sight.
And the Killjoy 2 off from their ult.
I've got your trail.
And once again, we have
Brace
this
your
collective side hit. When you see Grass looking a little bit on that flank, watching the flank like a sentinel should. Maybe this time trying to deny any control over their flank like they've had happen in A main. So they're kind of now pushed up a little more aggressive. Looks like they're gonna opt to go towards market, try and find a pick off of this KJ swarm as the smokes now fade out a little bit. We do see some nice spread, however. Not all of them are all on site together. We do see a straight more there. Still not able to find one, and it's almost second where ArrumieShannon swings off, and they're gonna swing together to find Aurelia and CC.
And Grass's positioning there in A main, or in B main rather, really helped sell Asuran his fake by being able to take out the one player that was going from CT, and ArrumieShannon also holding the walkout. Asuran made what was initially just a completely unsafe position into a position that not only was at least safe enough for them to go one and done, at the very least, but also a position that wasn't likely going to be checked because of the other 2 angles that were being held.
Yeah, I think Grass was in a pivotal position that round as well. They're finally learning from the past rounds on their mistakes on A that they need to watch over that flank. That's what KJ was there to do, and then they came in to then provide that crossfire on site. But usually really using that neutral once again, not entry into sight. The deer's gonna come through, however, along with the trip, and Osukiko is gonna find Aurelia, now clearing off site for them. Suran once again playing a really aggressive position, this time the door getting closed on them as they push into marketplace. There are 2 CT and 1 coming up mid. Are they gonna play this corner? And they don't. Megumi finds one Megumi falls as the mid
enemy
happens.
remaining.
And Suran finding yet another. Only 1 bullet, gonna try and style this. Instead, Odessa finds them with Hunter's Fury, looking for more. They're gonna come out and they're gonna push, it looks like.
Teleport's ready.
Oh yeah, Mika in a really good position. Knife out. Looks like they are gonna try and go for that knife. Hoping for it to get cleared. And it's gonna happen! Osukiko with the knife from the corner, not getting cleared. When you're scoped in with that Hunter's Fury, I can completely understand. It's hard to see around those corners.
Yeah, all in good fun. Obviously, it's just a game night. We're out here to have fun. Knifing people is probably going to be considered more fun for the people doing the knifing than the people on the receiving end, but either way, just everybody's out here in good spirits. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about the Team Gen.G buy. Looking a bit scattered right now. 3 Sheriffs, a Spectre, and then Odessa able to force up a Hero Rifle from the tour de force that they had last round in their economy.
Feeling sight.
We do see some aggression now
You
here.
should
Suran
run.
once again leading the way off of that KJ. Now Osukiko does find one from the little mid lurk. This time maybe clearing out anybody who would want to lurk A main. We see Bliss stuck on site and Suran next to the shot. Suran once again playing that aggressive positioning like you should as a Reyna, as a duelist. So they are going to try and get Megumi off the reload, and once again does, this time with the Sheriff. Finds another one, only 6 bullets now. Aurelia twists the first few shots, falls back for reload, which is when Asura pushes and now strikes. Asura with 3 fights guys trying to put some damage on their own, and it just falls also to Asuran.
Asuran going huge. A lot of eco frags there. Team Chongsters converting that round without any issues. Again, the lockdown used on, or against an eco rather, but I don't actually mind that one as much. It's a bit hard for me to justify justify using a lockdown on the eco rounds like that, but at the same time, it does allow you to take advantage of your longer range weapons. They can't play the close angles that they might want to with the lockdown. And if you have the weapon
I've got your
advantage,
trail.
it's naturally going to be a little bit harder for them to actually, shoot you.
Yeah, we do see Asura trying to gain some mid-control this round instead of some aggression. Megumi does find Osukiko with the knock and now with a shorty, both long and short distance weapons. Does have the Bladestorm online if they get caught in a tricky situation, but goes hunting for one more. Odessa maybe gonna have to face a Suran, does decide to back up. Loses for that player advantage. Grass tries to cross but gets found by the operator with Megumi as well. The flash comes through a little late as Megumi passes out. Gets flashed again. You see a Suran with that mid
Player
control coming
standing.
through to find
One enemy
shuts
remaining.
down Megumi. And it is now a 1v1 situation with just under a minute on the clock, both at about equal health. We do have Shannon knowing that Bliss is close because of that dismiss. Now knows that they are buttoned because of that mid-marketplace door closing. Is going to swing. Looks like they thought that they're rotating A. And Shannon's going to have a free site for plant. She also has that dog online for post-plant.
All the information gained. The spike's gonna go down completely and has
30 seconds left.
Shannon's got a flash to work.
Hawk out!
They send it out for information, knows that they're not lane. Do they know that they're not on A site yet?
The plant went down.
Not on B site.
Yeah. And there it is. The coach, the mentor, clutching up the round. If Bliss is
Last
playing,
round
it's
before the
BlissKai. Was that just the coach against the coach there in the little 1v1?
You know, I think that was the first time we've seen both content creators get into a 1v1. Also, I just noted Oseron's stat line right now. Something, it seems like something's gone a little bit out of order.
You see a shorty pile starting to form on the side of Chongsters. They have that econ obviously from the Suran popping off. We do notice that most of the team still is positive. 3 of the 5 members going positive, despite obviously the Suran popping off a little bit. Bladestorm comes through, and you make it there to shut it down, along with Shannon being found by the Hunter Fury as
down B.
separate team. The Suran able to find Odessa though, however, and understands with only 5 HP that their team is starting to be more aggressive here.
Yeah, I like the idea of going mid and using the Hunter's Fury to help support that. Obviously, things didn't go quite as planned as Megumi was caught out by the Hunter's Fury. But now Oseron's repositioned. That's a lot of the mid pressure gone. Now it's down to Bliss to hold this cross on the
Still in
spike.
sight.
They do have the player advantage here as they just get under a minute. Looks like they are going to reaggress towards A, but Bliss is there to
Down
stop
B.
Oyumika from getting across. Suran did pop the Empress, but only has 5 HP. Just needs to find one to
Player
heal back up
standing.
and isn't able to connect as Bliss finds the pick. Now Stikiko left in a 2v1 situation. Now down the player advantage. Does look like they're trying to search for a pick mid before aggressing site. Is going to go back towards A with now only 30 seconds on the clock left. Does have
30
both
seconds
a
left.
Prowler and a grip online. They cross over mid safely without any arch aggression.
Might have just missed being able to see through
Yeah.
my skies. Now Q coming in. Osukiko now needs to be on A. Dark gonna spot them out. Bliss closes it out with 3K. And just like that, 8-4 half. Obviously, not exactly the best thing that you want to see on percent, but hey, it's just a pickup. Realistically, attack sided, defender sided, it doesn't particularly matter. All that we
Switching
do know is that
sides.
this map so far does seem to be very Oseron sided.
Yeah, I definitely think though, however, Team Chongsters doesn't have a little bit of advantage here because of that team comp. The KJ especially, if they can lock down B site is amazing. Or even A site, I've locked it down. But we do see Grass over on the B site for that defense setup. It looks like we are going to see a similar to Team Chongsters, an A main heavy aggression here. Nobody looking at mid quite yet. They are still on their way out though. Yeah, nope. So we're going to see.
I would like to point out, this is the side that is going to really benefit from having this double duo setup. Megumi and Bliss have a lot more opportunities to actually make better use of their utility, just by virtue of playing on a more aggressive side. Possibility being invested A main to try and get this information. Both Prowlers, Dog, and a Flash coming out from Shannon.
We do see Oyumika in a pretty aggressive angle pushed up on Cat. He's going to fall back. I wonder if they're going to get time in as they try and make their way back towards Cubby. Off of three flight size now, right about to swing. And we do see the entire team other than Suran has rotated over towards A. Yes, we have Asuna playing in this game, clearly.
I mean, hey, I wouldn't be surprised at that stat line.
Very true. It does look, however, like they are going to make their way back towards A main. And we have seen 3 people towards A. Skyflash is going to connect through to let them know that there are still people there. Along with that Fade still getting destroyed, they are going to drone in along with the Fear coming out. And the smoke. It's going to be a heavy A hit and that can kill. Bliss tries to close the button. Really able to find a pick. And Shannon with the trade off of Bliss.
30 seconds
I was
left.
surprised there. I thought that Astra smoke wasn't helpful.
So just a bit deep enough for the attackers rather to play it. But now in 4v4 retake, spike down, a lot of advantage to be had by the attackers. Oyumek finds one as Megumi's unable to land the headshot.
Last player
kill.
standing.
It's just like that. What was a 4v4 has now turned very quickly into a 4v1. Now it's 3v1. Azra bunting for Odessa's head as Odessa runs out of headhunting bullets, and the defenders able to convert it. Big advantage going into the second half.
Did you see that? Suran tried to do the 360 before shooting Odessa? That's what I was looking at right there.
I mean, hey,
But they
we
weren't
don't,
shooting
we don't need to bring that up. We've seen a knife kill. A 360 right
I feel like
click would be a
Odessa, I
bit
feel
too
so
much.
bad.
Yeah.
Both have been on Odessa.
Well,
but
you're
Odessa,
right.
Odessa was in a hard situation. They were both of them trapped A main. Through the smoke, obviously, once it came through. And it was just a very clean 4-on-4 site retake from Chonksters. And I hope to see more out of them here. We do see 2 starting to aggress mid off of Team Gen.G. That Astra Smoke hope help them a little bit. We do see an Omen Smoke traded as Grass is going to make their way towards B. I think they can hear it. The Smoke tries to go off CT. Alarm bot isn't enough to get destroyed. Grass going to swing and get 2 with the gun advantage. Before they're ready to trade. And no, Shannon comes out of CT for the other 2 of that. Grass cannot pick up with their own 3K.
Heal up, squad.
As soon as that jet smoke dissipates, everything behind it is revealed. And in that case, everything just so happens to be Shannon with a Spectre and full shields.
Yeah, Shannon definitely saved Grass there, because you saw 2 other members swing off of that alarm bot from Team Gen.G once 2 of the members fell. And I wonder how that round could have differed if Megumi's smoke had covered the alarm bot. Maybe they would have been able to get through towards CT a little bit, catch Shannon off guard, but we'll never know. And now we see here both teams. First, well, we see Team Gen.G with a full buy. We see a bonus coming out of Chonksters, very rightfully so, since they're up 6. Let's see if they can maybe convert this. You see some mid aggression here. Actually, they're pretty split up. We see 2 towards the B site, maybe trying to catch a Suran off guard.
I think Suran is playing off grass. Maybe something. Either way, stuff walking into a stack. Bliss able to convert. Well, on the other side of the map, Zuran finds Megumi. The B site take now no longer has keep. Bliss and 3 Flights guys looking to go quick on this execute. No smokes able to come in though. So every player from Tree going to be able to just hold that position.
Yeah, they did have 3 already kind of positioned on that A site. We saw the Swarm Grenade come out. We saw the Omen Smoke come out, both denying them the site as they now rotate back towards mid. With that drone now used, 3 Flights guys is going to only have that dart for the information that they need to push onto the B side if they decide to rotate, or if they even regress A. Omen Smoke denying them a middle push here as they go back towards A, thinking that's their best option, as Odessa still had a presence on A main.
I have
this
30 seconds
Omen
left.
Smoke goes back out as 3 Flights guys obtains the spike. We still have
This
2
might actually
here.
let them get on site a little bit easier.
Yeah.
They might be able to take a position where the alarm bot doesn't quite see them. Instead, it's going to spot Bliss as they run in. 3 Flights guys able to confirm the kill on Oyumeka, and now Odessa with a very aggressive
10
position,
seconds
only
left.
3 hit points to work with.
1 enemy remaining.
It'll be enough to get 1 pick onto grass though. And I think that they've sold the position that, or I think that they've sold that there's a player positioned underneath Raptors, but I don't know if they note that Bliss is also in hell. And instead, Odessa's going to be able to find the last kill as well. Just a really good round out of them. 3 HP warrior, finding 2 in the most dire of situations. And the old Team Gen.G will be able to convert the first gun round of the half, but it comes at a really hefty cost.
Yeah, it definitely was an eco round for Team Chonksters, and I like that forward aggression and A main from Shannon and one another. Yes?
Feels like a lot of the cost is going to be on the side of Team Chunksters. Only a Sheriff for Azeron, Bulldogs, and some other members. Team Gen.G might be able to get some momentum going off this.
Yeah, we do see some more default play out of Team Gen.G compared to Team Chunksters on attack. Like we said, Team Chunksters had more of a collective hit here. We do see Bliss trying to get some mid presence here. Lumen is playing from Cubby once again, while Megumi's going to try and peek out from his top rafters position. We'll go ahead and see. Isn't able to find any. But we can just see them just waiting, kind of hoping Team Chunkster wastes their util on them. And no rotations coming out from either team. Actually, as I say that, we start seeing Team Gen.Z. They just were like, haha, you're
Here.
wrong, Zoe. They're going to rotate
Here.
back towards A main to join up with the rest of their team. They did
Here.
make some presence over on B. We can see now there's more of a B heavy leaning on that defense from Team Chunksters. Megumi going to try and push in to Cubby. Probably going to have a first confrontation with Oyumiko there.
I think it's one way. Oh, not quite. It's actually smoked off by
30
the
seconds left.
attackers. They're able to walk up into Cubby essentially uncontested.
Are they gonna catch Yumika on the smoke?
Tree
Nope.
that'll be hard.
Three Fights guys able to find Oyumika here. We do have Odessa, however, clear Osakiko from Wine. They tried to do their own Team Gen.Z move, but it didn't work as they still cleared those corners. Megumi in a very advantageous position, able to find not
10
one,
seconds left.
but two with the Guardian. And now three with that Guardian. Only 15 health left, but either way.
Really well-aimed shots coming out from Megumi. Took time, was able to reposition their crosshairs, make it to where it has the most value on the player's head. It's a guard. You need to be able to hit your shots in order to work with it. And Megumi showing that they are perfectly capable of using that weapon, even in a really tough situation that a lot of players would probably prefer to have a spray for.
We're going to see maybe a more dedicated beat hit here. There's the Lear come out to clear that corner. The Sheriff Wallbang does come through, but doesn't hit anybody. Second Lear is going to be used early on. Taking it to being denied. We are seeing Megumi try and get the button while Bliss decides to aggress site. We do have one person, however, and I was going to say Imbo, and Asuran able to find one with the Sheriff. Is able to pick up the gun, not quite. Going to try and look for another one off that second Lear. Isn't able to find it. Is pulling time down pretty well, denying that to the rest of the team to get there. Asuran able to find one more before falling to Odessa's headhunter, showing what the better sheriff is. And now we have Shannon coming in, able to find
Last player
Odessa.
standing.
Now it's Shannon, and from the crossfire between Lane and Stairs, they were able to secure the round on that retake. It was amazing.
The fact that Azeron was able to survive for so long backside just made it to where the rest of Team Chunksters could rotate in on time. The Spike barely had a chance to go down because the defenders were already executing their retake. And because of their positions, they knew that Team Gen.Z couldn't go anywhere else. They were already fully committed to that B site. So the retake was able to be started a little bit earlier. Team Chunksters were able to convert the round very easily.
We do see full buys coming out of both teams here, and it does look like more dedicated A hit, but there are a few lurking towards mid, so maybe we'll see some catwalk hubby aggression. Fade Util not going to spot anything.
Right here.
The Sky Dog, I think, barely short of second in the game. Prowler is going to find 3 Fight Skies, but get destroyed, so they know that somebody is A main. We do see 3 over there. We see 1. We see Suran, their little MVP, hiding in Wine. Probably would have been able to get it that to like last round.
Shannon here.
Yeah. 2 and Cubby. We'll see if they swing it together. They're not going to check that corner, and Shannon able to find 1. There was a campers there from the rendezvous, but
Last
Odessa able
player
to find the
standing.
pick still. And now it's a
Spike
1v1
down
situation,
A.
but they know where Odessa is off of Shannon's pick. Able to find their MVP is to run and falls back towards Cubby off of that Prowler. There's somebody mid. They're going to swing back out and catch Osakiko off guard and trying to isolate those 1v1s. Just go for Yumika. The blind misses. Is going to swing. 4 bullets left. Decides to go back because they know Grass is up mid. Just barely missing them. They don't have the spike though. It's all the way in A main with only 40 seconds left on the clock. Is able to spot Grass. Grass knows better and decides to fall back as they switch their gun for a Vandal. I would not have taken that fight on 2v1 either. So it's very smart of Grass to fall back.
30
Thought to
seconds
be an
left.
ace clutch for Odessa. They do have access to the spike. I don't know
the
if
spike.
it was communicated to the rest of Team Chunksters that the spike was dropped in A main. As
Yeah.
such, Odessa's actually going to get the spike down pretty much for free. they do have the trademark watching their deep flank as well. There are only two positions that Team Chonksters can come from.
Yeah, they definitely have to play together here, or we've seen Odessa isolate 1v1s previously in this round, and they could very well do it again. They do have, like, pretty solid health. They have a half shield and almost full health, obviously. I'm just hoping that they play it together and don't split up too much, and we can see them both starting to make their way into heaven. The smokes are going to go out. Well, I hope they progress together and don't split up. Looks like they're both going to opt to go heaven. We're going to see how this goes. He's holding an angle on Gen, so they jumped out from the wrong angle. It is going to be Yumika. That could have been bad if Odessa found the pick, but Yumika wins the fight and they get a defuse. We're bringing this to a 12-6.
Very well played in that 2v1 by Team Chonksters. Held mid, gave up A site, but was able to successfully retake it. Did their due diligence in checking where Odessa could be playing. And then Yumika was able to isolate that 1v1. A little bit of a scary proposition in a 2v1, but Yumika ends up being able to take out Odessa and put their team on map point.
We are seeing once again a more defaulted position out of Team Gen.Z. Looking like a more traditional playstyle. It hasn't paid off so far. Mega making an aggressive mid heavily, but it's still to be able to find the headshot to deny the Blade Storm. Drone's gonna come out maybe to see where Sarah is, maybe deny it as we find another one off of Adelia. Odessa does the Hunter's Fury, but gets smoked out by Omen, maybe trying to peek out. Trying to find a spike down mid. And decides to fall back now. It is a 4v2 situation on that point. We'll see if they can convert this. They are kind of spread out though, you know, like they're split, and this is kind of not the best thing for them.
Bliss going to go back to rejoin their teammate. Odessa just has mid angle locked down. But it looks like they're positioning themselves to go towards the A site, which is fortunately not the correct decision. A 3-player stack coming out from Team Chonksters, all lurking around Calvin Tree. They don't have anything to clear it. Instead, Odessa's just going to take the fight with Osukiko.
30
Already
seconds
a player
left.
down. 2v3 now coming out for Team Gen.Z. One close left. Another one flank from Tree. And Bliss able to reposition with the dismiss. And just like that, what was a 2v3 has now converted into a 2v2. Killjoy lockdown in play though. That's going to be really hard to play around.
Cover going out.
Let's say we saw this a few rounds ago, the last two people getting stuck. A main, does Killjoy have the lineup for Wine? We're gonna find out soon. It doesn't
One
look like
enemy remaining.
Oh, no, there
They
was a volley
did!
still available.
That's right! I love that lineup. I know that lineup too. And they're sticking it through the smoke
Blind
and
spray.
The spike is
and the
diffused.
first
Defenders
game of two
win.
goes to Team Chonksters and their coach Shannon.
Very well played by Team Chonksters. Brilliant effort coming up from Team Gen.Z. I really liked how they were positioning themselves on their defense, but ultimately, Ozran just putting up insane numbers.
Yeah.
The rest of their team coming in to support in the clutch when needed. But there's only so much you can do against 35 and 14.
Yeah, I definitely think Team Gen.Z had the better game mechanics there. From like you saw in that, like most rounds, they got really close and just got outgunned in those retakes when they were on defense. And right there in that last round, they were swinging together in perfect sync, whether it was an entry sight into A or Bliss grouping up back with Odessa to then aggress together. I just think this was a battle of gunning here, in which, like you said, Isuran brought the game.
So that will be it for our first game of the night. In just a sec, we will be right back with two new teams, same content creators. Bliss and Shannon are not going anywhere, but we will be. So I think we're going to cut to a quick break real quick while we get the new players in the lobby, get things settled, and we'll be right back to game 2.
I can't see the ground. So I ain't coming down. So no, I ain't never coming down. Rise up from the ashes, wings on my back, stay lit like a matchstick. We ain't coming back, I swear. Just let go and see what happens. Gotta let go to see the magic happen. They got us a quick change, so we like them in phase. I just bought a new watch, time to make my wrist ring. The zero gravity keeps elevating me. The zero gravity, they got us a quick change, so we like them in phase. I just bought a new watch, time to make my wrist ring. The zero gravity keeps elevating me. So I am up above the clouds, so
Since 1991, birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony, until one day a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. You've hid your fury and kept it in, but it's time now you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Get ready for verse 2, Electric Boogaloo.
You see the truth behind the veil, and you know that they're just looking for attention. Oh, you don't let the ruthlessness prevail. Oh, it's time now, light your fires for ascension. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Let you down, but you get up. They let you drown, but you don't stop. You show 'em you're a phoenix. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire burn, a thirst and desire. You transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Quiet's driving me insane. Silence rattles in my brain. Yeah, I gotta get away. Always waiting for the fall, so I built my towers tall, wandering through these empty halls. Break the cycle now. Walls are coming down. I gotta make it out. Yeah, 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 yeah. Gotta save me from myself. This emptiness, it hurts like hell. My good intentions let me down. I keep getting in my way. My stubborn pride will dig my grave. Leaving behind with every step I take. Yeah. It's like I'm down. Walls are coming down. I gotta make it out. Yeah, 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 yeah. Look my fear right in the eye. I just wanna feel alive. 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 On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back. 'Cause I won't look back. I won't look back. 'Cause I won't look back. On my own, I don't know why. She told me it's not your fault, but you don't realize that I never wonder what's the truth in your eyes. There's a light that makes me blush. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're gone. Don't hesitate to call me back, 'cause I won't be there. I won't look back. 'Cause I won't look back. 'Cause I won't look back. 'Cause I won't look back, baby, tonight. 'Cause I won't look back. 'Cause I won't look
So cliche. I see the sparks you throw my way. I know your name is written on everyone's mind. Your whole show is captivating me, but don't think that I can see right through that disguise. But when you got close to me, you had me falling so hard. becomes a thing. Maybe just for tonight, then I'll be over you. But when you got close to me, you had me falling so hard, baby, yeah, now I get it, you got heads turning, and you don't even try. Well, would you look at that, my glass is empty, how about I get another drink, baby, okay, I get it, you got fire burning, right there in your eyes, oh yeah. How about I get another drink, baby, okay, I get it, you got fire burning, right there in your eyes.
Sink to the deep end, hurt and defeated. Thought I could do this, laugh through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up so lost. Sink to the deep end, hurt and defeated. Too little and too late. Cast shadows in my face. Too little and too late. Cast shadows cross my face. Too little and too late. Cast shadows in my face. Too little and too late. Cast shadows cross my face. I've got no tricks to help me now. I've got no talk 'cause it's from now. Forgot my lines, I'm going down. I'm caught in the end game. I'm caught in the end game. I'm caught in the end game. I'm caught. Too little and too late. Cast shadows in my face. Too little and too late. Cast shadows cross my face. Too little and too late.
And we are back for a coin toss of a map. It has been removed from competitive play, but it is not removed from our hearts. We are here on Split with our same creators, the wonderful Shannon and BlissKai, but new teams, new players. We are joined by Bad Headshot, which is Bliss's team, who will be playing defense, and we have Shannon's team on attack, bringing back the team that won our first game, Team Chonksters. Same name, different players. What are you thinking of this team comp alias? I'm joined by, as my co-caster again, and I'm Zoe.
I think I've seen enough rain to last a lifetime. Outside of that, though, again, we're just doing some thin mans, you know, having fun. Like what I see. I mean, it's kind of hard not to like what I see. Bliss going on to the Astra potentially is a very interesting development. Meanwhile, Shin leaning towards the Fado, playing Sky last map.
Yeah, like you said, Shannon opting to stay the initiator. Bliss changing from a duelist. Wait, no, yeah, Bliss was on. Oh, wait, Bliss going from duelist to controller to now hovering an initiator. Those are the only people we can really analyze here because we haven't seen the other
Choose
players.
your agent.
Yeah. Bliss will end up taking Sky. Shannon's still hovering Fade. Historia not hovering anyone, which scares me a bit. Might be going back to the lobby here.
We might be. It does look like we are. So what do you think of how Shannon and Bliss did in that first map that we saw, Alias?
They both did pretty well. They both were solid team players. Shannon playing very well in the Sky, Bliss playing very well in the Arena. I think they were both second frag for their teams respectively. So just very balanced overall.
Yeah, I definitely think that little 1v1 was very cute on Ascent with like the little like coaches and content creators matching up against each other. And then, like you said, both Reynas were very pivotal in the last game on Ascent. Bliss was getting some nice kills, and obviously we had our other MVP on that team just popping off.
There we go.
And now we're back again to try Agent Select Part 2. Still on Split, obviously. Still same teams, same sides. And it looks like we are still having some very similar comps, except we do have Astoria now opting for an insta-lock on the controller.
I don't think anything else has changed so far. Obviously, Team Bad Headshots still yet to lock in. But meanwhile, on the side of Team Chunksters 2.0, everything looks about the same as it did before we left.
Did we have a raise on Sejupa, or was it a... Yeah, we don't have any Reyna over there.
This is a very nice change of pace. I'm
no
enjoying
Reynas
this.
anymore. I was hoping to see KJ. We do see KJ getting covered by Koba instead of a Reyna. I would love to see that as a KJ main, but we see Heatstroke changing from, I think it was they were on KJ to now Astra. And Mushi going from Reyna to Sage. What do you think about that swap?
I do like Sage a lot on this map. I think especially in more uncoordinated play like 10-man, Sage is just very nice to have for helping stall out mid pushes, wall, slow orbs. But she's also just a very versatile agent in general. Having her as a second point of entry is just a very nice thing to have in general. The inclusion of Sage does mean that they won't have a proper Sentinel. It seems like the attacking side of Team Chunksters has actually stolen theirs, as they are running both Chamber and Killjoy. Leaving Shannon as the only initiator.
I do wonder if that's going to help them have more control over mid on this attack, which might be nice. Yes, I guess on the attack, the Sage wall helps them get onto that B site, maybe block off CT on the A site. But like I said, that double util between the KJ and the Chamber on attack will help them make sure that nobody's flanking from mid. Because I've seen some catastrophic mid flanks. How about you on Split?
Oh, absolutely. The double sentinel setup is going to make it slightly harder to actually attack. Split is a notoriously defender side of the map, so I'm very curious to see how they're going to play around the double sentinel composition. And right now it looks like they're going to play into 3 members of Team Bad. They look to hit B right off the bat.
We are going to see, once again, from Shannon's team, a very collective site push. Looks like they aren't going for any mid-control, and that Sage wall did go out, obviously, tonight. Sage util from Shannon is going to come out as Stolly grabs the orb. Bamba isn't able to protect anyone. The Prowler does find one back site. We do have 3 members already on site. Stolly able to find one. The Gravity Wall, however, gets 3 people caught, and Mushi able to find one before Historia gets the straight swing from Heatstroke, not Mushi, actually. And we do have Shannon find one more on Mushi. It's now a 3v2 situation in favor of Shannon's team, the Chunksters. The plant goes down. Flashing to come through from Bliss as both of them make their way through CT. The bomb bot didn't touch anyone, so they don't know what they're dealing with. We have a nice little smoke come out from Astoria. The 5 was to find one along with Shannon. We had some Shannon on Bliss action once again. Just barely missing there. 22 HP.
Both players are low enough. This could definitely be doable for Sojwapa, but Historia peeks out from back site, takes them out, and converts the first round for the side of Team Chunksters.
I see a little eco from Team Chunksters or Shannon's team again, if you want to break that down a little bit.
Yeah, obviously, second round, Team Bad Headshot opting to just save, have enough for proper rifles next round. Tegan opting for the Marshall. I know last game we saw Azuran opt for a Vandal to complement the 4 Spectres that their teammates ran. Instead, this time we're going to be receiving a more conservative Marshall and a few Headhunter bullets. So a very potent investment coming out from Team Chonkers.
Yeah, we're gonna see a nade and a bomb bot following it here on A to delay that push. Maybe give a chance for the rest of Team Back to rotate over through mid, through vents. We do see Stalling make their way with the satchels through main. Is gonna take some initial contact with the satchel. Does get the right, Mushi gets the right click, does find it, gets the gun upgrade. Yeah. Oh, they didn't get the gun upgrade. Not for Kyo though. Doesn't even matter because he can find another headshot with the Marshall.
Yeah. Bliss did find one on Historia. I don't
Last
think
player
that Spectre's going to
standing.
be contestable. And now instead, it's all left up to Shannon.
One enemy remaining.
To isolate Bliss, which she takes, but she doesn't know where Heatstroke's going to be coming from. And the open plant's not going to benefit her.
Spike planted.
Instead, Heatstroke goes for the grapple, which Shannon actually is able to dodge because of that open plant. Timing just missed for Heatstroke. And now it's a game of Ring Around the Rosie. Very deadly one at that. And it seems like Heatstroke has an idea of where Shannon could be playing. But Shannon just playing the time beautifully, not
We're gonna
giving
get
up
a
an early
1-1.
pick. And it's only a... Oh, she does. They do have a Spectre, sorry. I thought they had a Marshall for whatever reason. And just like that, the lighter buy coming out from Team Bad Headshot is able to convert this 50 rounds.
So, everyone brought knives.
Yeah, that was an insane round, like an eco round from them. I think Mishy getting that early pick on Raptors was really nice because it allowed Heatstroke to secure the Spectre. And honestly, I think Shannon did a good job, but like you said, Heatstroke opting to put out that gravity well, they just let them barely miss the planting by Shannon. Then it was a lot of just like, are they gonna look at someone at the back of someone's head, or are they gonna have that confrontation like they had in Elbow? And that's exactly what happened. And even though Shannon got the head dink, it just wasn't enough, and Heatstroke converted the round.
So now that means that Team Chunksters is forced onto this lighter buy. Spotting mid, they're going to try and break the people of course. Solidify it. They will take a little bit longer than I'm sure they want to. These nations both going out into vents, but instead
Spike
going
down
out
mid.
towards
Last player standing.
position, and the two rifles just wreaking havoc on the lesbian, taking them out. Soju Appa finds fifth, and a flawless third round coming out from Team Bad Headshot. They get to keep all of the rifles as well, which is very important. Actually, Heatstroke was on a Spectre as opposed to the rifle, but still, that's 4 rifles going into this first proper gun round, and the buy from Team Chunksters is still missing a little bit because of their round 2 loss. We'll be seeing light shields for Shannon and likely for Stali as well.
Yeah, I don't know what Chunksters could have done differently there. They were swinging off of each other in that mid aggression. They were denying any events positioning with that detail, the Prowler, the nade. It was definitely a gun differential there. Like, they were able to get the first pick, but then Misha was waiting with the Phantom. We do have some presence down here, both mid and on site, and it looks like they're gonna have more of a heaven presence here, maybe giving them the opportunity, despite that Astra util here in the entry point. It looks like they're gonna fadal into site with the off for them. Rendezvous out for Tegan. Prowler comes through. Gravity Wall is gonna find one Tegan, but it's not gonna help the person that Raptors get a pick at all. They are able to find Killjoy. Tegan able to get that trade out. Mushi, however, with the double.
Last player standing.
Now it's just Tegan left, and he was able to find one more. That nade able to find Stali did not help at all.
That's a brilliant combination of utility there. Obviously, the grab well already used, but because it takes its place very beautifully, does enough to convert the raised nade kill. But yeah, it was just super unfortunate. The Fade ult didn't end up hitting barely any of the players on site, and they still had players in heaven going just to be in proper positions to actually convert off of the strategy, just Fade ult and rush in.
I think I just missed it. But I didn't see where Omen's smokes were either. It looked like they were depending more on that Fatal than smokes on Heaven. Because like they just kept coming and peeking from Heaven.
Is she on the wall?
I don't think so. I think she's just a male. She being
yeah, I think you're right. They are just in male opposed to on the wall, but
I think they just might have jumped on, and they did to find Historia with the back turn.
Weapon here.
Free sheriff upgrade for Shannon. Opts not
really.
to take it, instead just holding onto the spike. As mid area firmly under control from that Sage wall. But Falls broken. Not a lot of cover left for the lesbian. Seems
Nice.
barely
Bring them
misses.
down.
Turret not in a good position to punish it either.
They're blind
They
with
do
fear.
a lot of mid now. It's gonna be really hard for Team Bad Headshot, excuse me, to know that they've backed off this mid. But they have
Yeah.
made the correct read and leaning towards B. Partially off the fact that Soju has gotten all the way up A site, and now with that
Blocking vision.
trademark being destroyed, Chunks
30
are
seconds
well
left.
aware that they are locked to be hit. There's the mid presence gone as well. Actually able to find Arrumia's stroke.
One enemy remaining. Spike down,
third.
B.
Stroke finds one of their own. Now it's all down to Team playing out of the main.
10 seconds left.
Being lined up by Stroke. Eventually has to just
I
resort to
myself
spraying,
thought that
but
was
it's
good.
no
Walk
matter. Team Bad
majestically,
Headshot
my friend.
with their 4th round in a row after losing Crystal.
Yeah, I definitely think Mushi's in that mid control has been pivotal here. Shannon tried to get a flank and just
BYB fam.
couldn't get
Going
it
to
to
Astral to do
go
them Astral
through.
Guardian things I do.
We did see some whiffs from Heatstroke, but otherwise it was a very good control of that Astra util to nice sight and just play time. We saw there was 15 seconds on the clock, even with Tegan there. Like, even Tegan had gotten the nice shot on Heatstroke. It would have been very hard to get the plant down. We're gonna see.
Sorry.
We're gonna see a very heavy aggression here. Nobody lurking mid, and because of that, we do see Michelle and Fade starting to rotate over through mid off that sage wall towards Vents, which is what I think Bad Headshot has been doing a really good job of, is getting early info and rotating to the needed positions. However, if you do notice, that would leave only one person over on B with that Astra. Obviously, that util's there to deny plant long enough for them to rotate back, but we'll see if this fast enough rotate, which you can already heading over there, will be too much. They just need to get past Astra, and then they'll have a free sight.
Wrong, buddy.
I think they know that they're playing there. They have Fade being ready to activate off the mid, playing around that sage wall, and even though Mushi's taking a little bit of damage, there's still not a lot of space for Team Chunksters to play around. It does look like the spike is going to be headed over towards B, and now Astra needed more than ever.
You want to
In a
play?
1v3
Let's
situation
play.
on the B site, finds one
Spike
before
down,
Historia
B.
takes them out, and now the B site able to come into play. Tour de Force available for Tegan, and Historia's pushed through. They found Bliss, and now CT no longer safe. They do have 2 players in
One
heaven,
enemy remaining.
and Historia is able to find a third as Soju goes pushing
Missed
in.
me.
Tegan eventually falls to Me Big Lesbian, but Me Big Lesbian is alone in the clutch. Needs a 1v4, and they are surrounded.
We do the tap from Ubi Lesbian, but Historia is able to cross there with the person about to leave from heaven, and is able to find a nice little 4K from that lurk into CT, which I thought was really interesting that Stolly was over on A for so long when the B spike went down B, but I guess it paid off in the end. And like I said, they got past Astra on that rotate on the B site, and it was just plant and spread out. And they, I think definitely their Team Bad Headshots over rotation cost them that round a little bit. Like they just depended on the Astra too much there, and the gravity well had been working in previous rounds and just didn't work that round.
Just a really well sold fake coming out from Team Chunksters, and now they have a lot of ultimates to play around. Lockdown not especially well suited for this A site take. Definitely ways to make it work, but I wager that they're probably going to try and use it for a hold. Proper take. Sully able to dodge the flash with a lot of information by Bliss.
And the bomb bot followed by the nade is going to come out from the Rays. We have Sajuba up in heaven. Is able to
flank.
connect. So it is going to pull them back
No
long
idea
enough.
that she's coming this way.
Solid with the showstopper, able to find one, but doesn't see that Sajuba's waiting there and gets picked off as the bomb bot comes through. And a showstopper of their own comes out as the KJ comes through with Mashiki on the flank as well, able to get a trade off of Shannon and get the res.
It's the ult. They need to get the ult down.
Spike planted.
Are they gonna get locked down though? The res is, it looks like.
And it looks like Heatstroke was also hit. So now Mushi, all alone, the only player actionable right now. But now that the lockdown is faded,
One
Chunker's in
enemy
a very
remaining.
dangerous situation. Heatstroke finds one on site. Tegan able to find Soju. That was the res. The rest will be a little bit harder, and Mushi proves it. Finds the pick onto Tegan, and after one round, Team Bad headshot is right
Thank you.
back to their winning ways.
Blasphemous.
Yeah, it was pretty. I was kind of shocked at the Killjoy. They didn't do anything off of the Killjoy ult when they saw that 2 of them had gotten detained. But they also weren't really in the position to, because at that point I don't think they knew that Mushi was, or they had just learned that Mushi obviously was flanking because of that res. So they knew that 2 were main, but they didn't know where that 3rd person was, which is likely why they didn't want to overextend into CT. But I think it also punished them then, because then they were, I think, they were down a person on that retake. And it just allowed them to pick them off one at a time and get the plant, or the defuse.
Sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation there, because if you try and push into CT and it turns out that the 2 players that were A were the ones who res, but you're still dealing with an actual player. And if it ends up happening to be the 2 players running around CT, or having one of the 2 players from a main being actionable,
No
then that's
charges.
a really deadly cross that you have to get through. So it like
Bring them down.
stuck on site.
Yeah, we did have the Seekers come out pretty early, but it wasn't able to connect, and you saw 3 of those expire mid.
Bring them down.
So they knew that there were people mid, but they didn't know how far or how deep. We can see Shannon out here pushing up mid with the rest of their team, able to find the person male. But Mushi is
Huge.
still... Now it's a 3v5 situation in the favor of Chompsters.
Yamasa.
They know that there's one more there, though, in Vents.
Yeah, Heatstroke finding a pick onto his story is pretty much going to seal the deal. Team Chonksters locked into going A. They do have Tegan pushed all the way into heaven. ArrumieShannon's just going to be on the lurk. Soju off of flanking her, though. Jin's in a very dangerous position.
30
But
seconds
as
left.
long as she's able to survive for
Spike
long
planted.
enough, Spike can go down. She might be able to hear the player coming behind. Yeah, Soju's going
player
to be
standing.
completely clueless. And Shannon's found 1, unable to find the 4th, but Heatstroke now left alone in the 1v2. Same situation, same players left in the clutch, but in a much better position to do so.
We do
Or it
see the
gives them the
smoke.
information.
You can go.
One enemy remaining.
You should have been exhausted.
Much damage. I think the alarm bot came in at just the right moment. Koba getting the kill with the nanobot. And now we're going a little bit more back and forth. This is the type of Valorant we like to see.
We're gonna see kind of a fragmented buy out of Chonksters here now. You see some light shields, but with the rifle still. Well, we have full rifle, full shield on the team of Bad Headshot. So yes, they won that round thanks to Koba's post-plant util, but it was a very expensive round with them only taking that 1 gun out of it. Shannon had a promising flank, but ultimately got traded out by Heatstroke after an amazing 3K. The wall mid for Mushi coming up, denying any hits. This is an interesting combination with the Fade and the Sage mid. What do you think, Alias?
Face your fear!
Definitely a lot of information. I was going to comment that Team Chonksters could do something potentially really devious and combo the Fade and the Omen ult just to avoid giving any extra information. But instead, the Fade ult's going to be used in mid to try and push into heaven. Juanpa able to take out 1, as well as finding a second one onto Stally as well. Just like that, the mid push has lost all the teeth, and Tegan going to get spotted by that Sky Flash. Team Bad's in a very, very dominant position.
And that Sky Flash, first now, second, has ultimately denied any momentum and allowed it to be, instead of 2 players, now 3 players over on that A site.
They're all 3 cuts. Storia does manage to find Soju, but a lot of damage being done. Actually makes them
I'll find you. 30
slightly
seconds
worse
left.
position.
Mark 2.
Still, they might not be aware of the flank again.
Ah, there. 1 enemy remaining.
Kobe able to trade out not just 1, but now 2 players for their team. Mushi on the flank, but Heatstroke ultimately beats him to the pick off of Koba and secures him another round, bringing this to a 6-3.
Really well played. That one interaction in mid, just as soon as Soju was able to get the pick onto Shannon, everything just started to fall apart. Mid take just lost all of its teeth, and Team Chonksters just couldn't punch their way up mid. On a map like Split is something that is so crucial to have control of.
Yeah, like I said earlier, this Fade Sage combo has been just really dominant. The Sage wall slows them down long enough for the Fade util to take effect, get any information that they need, and ultimately know exactly where they need to rotate. Whether it's to stay B and go towards Rafters to support Astra on site, or it's to rotate through vents using that wall to establish a presence on A. And now, we do see Chamber, Tegan lurking up mid, maybe trying to get some attention drawn, so there isn't that much kind of pressure on the rest of the team B main from that Raptors position. We do see not work, however, as Blisskai pushes down and is able to find Historia. As this Astra util goes out, we are going to see a rotate out of Team Chongsters back towards mid. Tegan waiting for that wall just to expire so that they can maybe get an A push started. Waiting for that to watch, but Mishi is right there waiting with the slower to deny presence there. Tegan's just being very patient.
And Mushi has no way of knowing that so many players are mid. Will certainly now finds the pick onto Koba, but the sheer numbers are able to overwhelm Tegan. Gets the trade, but the raised nade coming out from Soju and the Fade Prowler coming out from Movie Lesbian. That's a lot of information gained and a lot of presence.
30 seconds left.
Team Bad Headshot is able to retake in the mid. Now, Team Chongsters does have a chance to beat the rotation, though. It's going to rely on Tegan finding a pick here. Can't quite find the pick on Movie Lesbian. Slight cross, no longer safe. But as it turns out, Shannon's actually able to get the spike down just fine. Very low health for Extali. Shannon doing fine enough. Has the Frenzy playing this close angle, but is going to get pushed by 3 separate players. Heatstroke ends up finding both picks. There's not a lot you can do with the weaker weapons there. Shannon getting the headshot wasn't enough to save her. And at that point, there's not really much that you can do as a Raze without any utility on 30-something health.
Yeah, like you said, they were about to beat the rotate, but Bliss was still in that vent position to easily rotate back towards A and wait for the rest of the team to start aggressing, able to take out that push up towards Rams, which I think is what was pivotal there. If Tegan had gained control of Heaven, it would have been a lot more difficult of a rotate for the rest of the team. Headhunter obviously was able to find one over mid, but wasn't able to finish the job up in a Heaven. And ultimately, like over the gun advantage, the player advantage, it made it a very easy retake, especially when like they were swinging elbow together. Maybe you saw, for example, Heatstroke did get dinked by Shannon, but there was another player there to ensure that Heatstroke didn't die and able to get the plant. You do see Mushi waiting on the wall. The Fade does go out and see the wall break, followed by that slow work. Very good for once again.
Obscuring vision.
Heatstroke again under heavy pressure with the mid presence being established by Monsters. Heatstroke is in a very dangerous position, all alone on site, nobody to support them. But now Heatstroke has an opportunity to play around. Peeks into 3 players on accident. Grapple going to keep Heatstroke alive for now. Tries to play a cheeky off angle, but unfortunately unable to convert it. 3 picks going in favor of Team Chongsters. Jumbo with a chance to lurk back.
Last player standing.
Finds pick on to Stali, but is now the last one left as Shannon finds Bliss.
Get it.
Yeah, Heatstroke looked like they were gonna get by very, very well in that corner from the KJ lockdown, but it almost like Koba knew that was a spot that was open and was ready to swing out.
Last round in the half.
With that little peek through the smoke, but ultimately able to take site clean once they dealt with Astra. The gravity well not being enough to hold them out of sight, and it's brought us to a 7-4 as we are approaching the last round and a half. And as you said, it's notoriously defense-sided, and they do have that double sentinel, so we'll definitely see, I think, a better half out of Team Chongsters on the defense. And let's just see how they close this out. We do see Movie Lesbian with an operator, which is an interesting pick for a Fade, but nonetheless, it won't matter if you can get the op skills, right?
Definitely wondering about how this op is going to come into play for the side of Team Bad Headshot.
Here.
Lesbian playing the op all the way back in screens on that A site. That's a long angle that can pretty much just be left alone. And especially with Bliss gathering the information and the Boombot spotting players mid, I think there's a pretty good chance that this B site is going to be very well defended.
Yeah, I was at first questioning the swap, have Sage hold off main instead of mid and have Astra play mid instead, but it seems to be working a little bit. They are still having more aggression here as Mushi starts to rotate over and decide, yeah, we might be go there with the slow orb, so we're going to smoke it out while the gravity well and the nade combo comes through. But ultimately, it's not as strong of a hold, I don't think. You are seeing a lot more util dumping, some grouping up into heaven. I don't know if they were going to have music lesbian with the operator mid without the wall.
They've got the operator pushed off site.
Blinded.
Lesbian is rotated in, and it seems like they're fully expecting this to go towards B. But instead, the spike is starting to be planted on
Cover
A.
going out.
Player in screens, and the operator not going to ring true. Stolly finds one with the showstopper. Historia still lurking mid, along with Shannon, who is already pushed up into ropes. Has a very precarious situation, but a very volatile one if played correctly.
Yeah, I thought Bliss could hear that there were 2 invents from when they jumped down, but it appears not, as Shannon was able to find one from the crossfire. Now there's 2 people established in heaven in this 2v2 situation. Is it planted for them, though?
Not planted for. Yeah, you're right.
One enemy remaining.
Not. We
Bliss
do have
does end
now
up going down.
Heatstroke
Heatstroke
sticking it.
should be able to get it half. Just too many players. But have taken a very, very brilliant spray transfer to go for that one.
Switching sides.
But unfortunately not able to find it. And a 7-5 half has been reached by Team Chonksters.
Yeah, I definitely think, obviously, as you mentioned before, them not being able to penetrate that mid-hold, that Fade and Sage combo, definitely, I think, cost them a few rounds because too many of them died there. They wasted a little bit too much util there and a little bit too much time before being able to rotate back towards B, or most of the time when they rotated back towards A through sewer. However, towards the end of the half, they were finally finding ways to then close it out, whether it was using the Killjoy ult to kind of push Heatstroke back to enable them to take site, or whether it was, you know, Heatstroke overextending a little bit and then able to get the pick to deny the util onto site. Once they took B site, it was usually that they won the round, but it was just them not being able to get there, and now we see them on defense. They're comfortable with the 2 sentinels. They don't have that stage wall mid, however, so we're going to see a lot of aggression here. They held mid control last round, and they're taking it by force now on the attack, as they're opting to go B heaven off of the Sky Flash that needs. They're gonna start forcing Shannon a little bit back. They don't see her as she does swing with the frenzy, and Mushi finds her.
And everyone was able to get ahead of the race lead as well. So I don't think the rest of Team Chonkers is aware of how many players are actually up in mid. Spike does get dropped by Sally though. And Sally's actually able to find another one. Nate goes out, could be a little bit chaotic.
Remaining.
Mushi able to find the headshot, maybe Lesbian finds another one, and now it's all left up to Tegan. Needs 3 to actually win the round. Mushi doesn't quite see the drop, but at this point the crossfire held is just too strong. Actually, no, there was a smoke in the way.
Last player
So
standing.
Tegan's actually been able to walk up on Mushi uncontested. And the dismiss Heatstroke playing that very, very nicely. Mind games coming into play, and Team Bad Headshot able to convert the pistol round.
We do see
1 second,
a
peeps.
force
I gotta
buy
visit
out
the
of Team
Astro
Bad
to play some
Headshot here with
stars.
a lot of Spectres and only 1 Light Shield. What's interesting to me is Tegan opting for that Marshall. You can see them do some damage over on A on the attack with it, so I'm sure with them holding it heaven on, or sorry, holding it for mid, they'll be able to hopefully convert it given the econ risk it'll pose for the team. We're gonna see
There's
some more
nobody on
B.
site.
Yeah, that's very, or is it covered by?
I think it's just completely uncontested.
It is, which I think is
They'll
very
certainly be aware of it though.
You see Tegan starting to rotate up towards B heaven and maybe catch someone off guard before that smoke comes in. We are gonna see them obviously play together when they they don't have the gun advantage. Maybe it'll help pay off that they're having more of a collective retake. They'll be able to play together, get the trades that they need. But they are gonna be, because of the way Split is structured, gonna have to take some really close distance fights after they drop down from heaven, which will give the Spectres the advantage. Especially with those Astra smokes and stars starting to form out.
They're also all being forced into this one choke point because of the Sage Wall that's still up. They don't have the easy way to break it playing off these pistols. Crossfire being held. Only able to find the first blood on the round as the spike is
1 enemy remaining.
Stroke able to clean it up after. Only 1 falls on the side of Team Bad Headshot, assuming that they can get away from the spike. Actually, Heatstroke and Bliss going to go down as well. Those are 2 Spectres that won't be able to be saved in, but no hesitation. They're right onto the rifles.
Yeah, we do see here Tegan having to opt for the Vandal Light Show because of that Marshall buy. I definitely think if they had gone mid like they did as aggressively the first half, there would have been some issues. But instead, them leaving that B site, like you said, uncontested, allowed them just to take it. And with the gun disadvantage, it didn't help them much on that retake. They did look like they were gonna have some momentum at first, but then Heatstroke, as you said, came out. We are gonna see some now heavy aggression towards A with the dog coming out, along with that Storm to stop any Heaven ramp peaks. So Joppa's gonna have to peek out. Does catch one going back towards CT. And through the smoke, Tegan able to connect with Sojoppa, and because of that, they are gonna start rotating. Bliss opting to instead go with a team instead of a mid split. We see. So they've already pushed into a B main and have gotten into mid. Dolly looks like they're gonna be looking to cross. Is able to find one and decides to back out, but it's too late as the lesbian connects.
It's not a good way to retreat off that fight. Killjoy utility is up though. Turret coming out. Nova playing off their turret. Able to find two. That should stall the push for a while, and it gives Chomsters the man advantage. Still, that headshot. Able to find their way onto site. Shannon goes down. Heatstroke has an opportunity to isolate a second one. And a third. Story's going to go down as well. Heatstroke just a little bit.
Down.
Tegan, able
30
to convert
seconds
it.
left.
1v1. The other player is Tegan, able to convert the gun round for Team Chongsters, but at a massive cost. Only one rifle going to be saved over. Tegan one off the tour de force if they choose to try and go for an orbital play off it. For the rest of the team, this buy is going to be super weak.
A gift.
Yeah, Heatstroke has done a great job. You can see 26 is being able to isolate those 1v1s, whether they're reloading, whether they're waiting for their team to swing. You saw Shannon get caught up a little bit off guard up Heaven as Tegan tried to get the trade and just was unable to. And if Heatstroke had won that battle on Tegan, obviously they would have won the round. But Tegan able to secure the 1v1 off of that, off of the lift.
And again, the gamble stack not quite paying out for Team Chongsters. It's Team Bad Headshot able to find a place to plant, but Historia
spike down
off.
A.
Maybe Lesbian. Tegan finds a trade on Soju Alpha.
Planted.
Chongsters actually able to play off this round really well. Stolly trades out.
Last player standing.
They go down. And now 2v1 Bliss, only a classic left. The Raze ult in her face. Stolly manages to avoid killing themselves with the Raze ult. And instead is able to get the defuse.
Shame. Love explosions.
Fairly nicely for Team Chongsters. They do save over the two rifles, one of which being a Guardian, but I think that was probably the best weapon that they could have saved. Tegan is able to drop over the Vandal that they had carried over. They can play off the tour de force. The economy in a very nice spot for the Chongsters at this point.
Yeah, you said that was a really good round for them, but I would like to take the other angle for Team Bad Headshot there. They were on a complete save, and not only did they waste the showstopper off of Solly, they were able, like you said, only to take away a Guardian and one rifle, which I think is pretty impressive. You saw the sheriff shots out of Mushi, and now that After Smoke gonna block them on this mid push. Very aggressive once again. You do see the grass come through from Fade, but off that swing, not able to connect. I think they have completely taken B Heaven. But there Koba is with the KJ ult and the lockdown, forcing Solly to go towards Heatstroke, who
Spike
then
down B.
gets the pick. And they might get the take here. Misses the shot.
Yeah.
Last player standing.
Yeah. Takes the time to line up the headshot. Had a sheriff available, but 150 credits makes for a very nice spiteful headshot. And now with the spike up in heaven, Heatstroke able to find a pick onto Tegan, able to find another pick onto Koba. But now on low HP has to isolate this 1v1, and it doesn't look like Historia is wanting to budge. They can play the angle, but actually I think that Heatstroke might be able to get the spike and run to A if they so choose. But no, now Historia is able to reposition.
Need that back.
And it might be
30
a
seconds
bit
left.
harder to get up. But no, the spike's just going to fall to Heatstroke completely uncontested. And I don't think Heatstroke heard the cancel. So they think that this B site is perfectly clear. They don't have a lot of time to plant either.
10 seconds
Two
left.
stars available if they choose to do so. But now Heatstroke has to wonder where Storia's repositioned to.
Spike
But
planted.
Storia's just missed the timing. Heatstroke's gotten away scot-free. And they're watching the wrong angle. Heatstroke's
Hey
found the
people,
fourth
come
player.
on now. I'm
Hit
anticipating
that.
my
I've
congratulations.
lost all words. Heatstroke able to isolate 1v1 after 1v1 and is able to convert a round that Team Bad Headshot had no business winning.
I should probably place some stars in the astral plane. I should do.
Much
Now-
more limited by coming out from Team Chunksters this round. They don't have the rifles to play off. Were to force to lose last round. So Tegan's just going to have to resort to this Marshall instead.
We do see it, like you said, they expect for the fourth last round facing Chunksters, but Tegan says, I don't need it. Comes through with the Marshall headshot. Is she gonna try and get the res? And no one's going to get this made off of ramp. We just see Bad Headshot, like you said, they have the ult advantage. They use the Sage res and still have 3 ults online. So now they're gonna rotate towards B and hopefully aggress that either using the Fade ult or the Astral Wall. Even that Showstopper is still in effect, ready to take some action if needed. You see them make their way back towards mid, but if you see, they have 3 players on site for B. We have Stolly pushing up in to B main, a little bit aggressive. We've seen that kind of hurt them in the past. We have
You are
Destroy
divided!
in CT. They started to rotate back towards A though, which looks like a mistake as they're now going to start progressing B. The turret is going to pick it up and then rotate right back towards CT. We see all 3 players from A now making their way, and it's going to be a 4v4 situation. But they're down
Player standing.
down
Into
health as
heaven.
Stolly pops off to the Sheriff.
Historia's on 2 on the reflank, and Stolly, with an amazing sight hold all by themselves, finds 2 with the Sheriff, and then goes back for the final kill. And just like that, the economy for Team Chunksters is right back into a really good position, and Team Bad Headshot is going to be the one on the save this round.
Yeah, and they only had to use 1 ult that round. Mushi used it on Sojuapo when they got Marsha by T. So they're bringing 3 very... Oh, actually, they also extended the Astral Wall, but it got traded for the Seeker. So they still have 3 very powerful ultimates here for this very strong B aggression on this eco round. We're going to see the Skydog come out from Bliss to try and create a closer angle. Stolly going to stall the push a little bit. Stolly stall with that nade, and they are going to back out off of that util wasted on the side of Chunksters back towards a mid aggression. We do see they've completely abandoned the A side, a little bit of an over-rotate from Chunksters, and they realize this as they now rotate back towards A. You see 2 members, and they are going to push towards mid, where nobody is waiting up heaven. We do see Killjoy drop down from rafters in a advantageous position, and they are going to opt to go towards vents, where there's 2 players waiting for them. Historia up in heaven near the CT side, hopefully going to find some here and not get traded. We'll see how this unfolds.
It's a super precarious situation for Historia. And they just missed the timing.
Oh, there is a trademark there, so they're going to be fine. And able to be in a more advantageous position. With a little bit able to find
Down A.
not 1 but 2 until Keystroke finally gets the ghost shot to connect and upgrades as a Phantom. Obviously, they opted into Keystroke.
The last one on site,
Your
an
train.
operator.
Concealment.
Gets smoked out though, regardless.
Yeah,
30
this
seconds
right
left.
suddenly turned into a very stressful retake for Team Chunksters. The Showstopper
Right there.
online for Soju.
Spike planted.
This is a round that can be very easily converted.
vision.
They have the guns. They have
There.
an ultimate in their back pocket to use. Heatstroke finds 1 on the pick out, and Soju opposite and able to land some shots on Tegan, unable to convert in the
Player
end.
standing.
Heatstroke just gets timing, ends up looking the wrong way, and Shannon's able to find 2 on the retake. Get themselves the round. 10-9.
They didn't actually
Split
think
has
that
suddenly
would
turned
work.
very, very competitive.
Yeah, like I said, Chunksters had the team comp for the defense side, and they are
Gun
definitely
here.
using it there. However, Sojuapa did have a really good positioning on that heaven position, and if they had any other gun than a frenzy,
That's a
even
good
like a
spot.
classic, they definitely would have been good for, I would say, 2, but at
Teleport's
least
ready.
1. We are going to have full buys from both teams going into this very pivotal round, I'd say. It'll either
I got
it'll
yous,
guarantee
okay?
a tie in double digits for Team Chunksters. and we do see some heavy A. We see it. Sorry, not heavy A. We see some split aggression between B and mid. They're gonna see a flash out mid to maybe smoke out Tegan, and they are with the rendezvous. Mushi, however, starting to creep up. Notices the Killjoy util, tries wallbang, and does destroy it, letting Kobe know that there is some presence there. Heatstroke somehow got hit from mid.
Astoria. The defensive fatal made it to where she can just run up mid completely uncontested.
Right, they're
And
all
now,
the way.
at this point, Team Bad Headshot is locked into B unless they decide to go all the way through spawn. And either way, Team Chungsters has a very quick opportunity to rotate. Killjoy utility will be able to help stall the site. Raise Snake and Taunt coming out from Killjoy, or Killjoy, Fade rather, going to do a lot to try and displace Killjoy playing backside. But Kobe is undeterred, peeks out, gets one on BB Lesbian, that's their fade down. And Shannon peeks out as the spike's going down, finds Bliss. And all the while, Historia has completely re-cleared mid and spawn. Shannon peeks out, finds one ahead of the fade ultimate.
Down B.
Tegan finds
One
another,
enemy
last
remaining.
one playing A main, and the spike is yet to go down.
One enemy
Being
remaining.
watched. Heatstroke finds one, and now another 1v1 for Heatstroke.
I have
Tegan
the
in the
spike.
clutch
And
has
Tegan.
Tegan to deal with as the operator, and Tegan just missed the timing on
10
it,
seconds left.
but won't miss that timing. Misses a couple shots, but ends up converting it in the end. 10-10, and the economy for Team Bad Headshot is not in a good place right now. This could be 11 on the board for Team Chongsters, and their first lead since round 2.
That works.
Yeah, I would like to say that I thought that side hold was
Teleport's
crumbling
ready.
as Koba just got flushed out with util after util. We had the Fade Prowler, we had the Sky Flash, we had obviously we had that Soju Appa nade coming through.
Stat line.
And they were still good for one there. And I think that definitely deterred it a little bit enough for the rest of the players to drop down from heaven and be able to get it down to that 1v1 situation. Obviously, Heatstroke better 1v1, so is Tegan. And Tegan able to secure it and get another round. And like you said, drop down. We're going towards a mid-aggression fight. A lot of sheriffs on the side of that. Headshot. And the showstopper is going to come out.
Historia.
Historia.
Historia's clicked all the way up. And I think the seeds actually made it to where Historia was perfectly safe, and Soju opportunity pushed up into heaven.
No challenges.
So now Historia with a chance at ace almost has the lineup, but Mushi able to shut them down, able to get the heal for themselves, has the sheriff, while Bliss picks up the Phantom. They're going towards A, which is the lesser defended site, but Tegan in a prime position to deal with this, has the trademark to play off of, holding the angle with the op, and they know that the only place that they can be right now is mid. They can't lurk up into B tower. Timing not quite right for them to go back towards B or A main. Said,
Headshot.
Mushi, a phenomenal shot on Sharon. That's a second rifle able to be retrieved. And at this point, Stolly had already rotated in. Now it's just Killjoy on site. Kova needed it here big time.
30 seconds left.
She gets the flash into their face, but is able to find Kobe in the end. 2v2 situation. Showstopper coming out from Stolly. Not in a good position. Tegan ends up finding the pick with the op shot. Bliss playing from backside, getting pressured heavily. The tackle coming in, and they almost line up for Bliss. But Tegan able to find the pick with the op. A very scary round, but they avoid the thrifty. And Team Chongsters now only needs 2 more. 1 gun round, 1 half buy. That's all they need.
Yeah, like that was a great econ round again. Didn't quite have enough to convert it in that 3v2 situation. I thought Kobe was gonna wait for the rest of the team, but decided to aggress a little bit there, and ultimately got traded out, which is why I thought it was gonna go in this on the side of Team Bat Headshot, especially because you said they got those 2 rifle upgrades. But now here we are, a 10-11 score line. We do see full buys from both teams. So this is gonna be definitely a very strong round for both teams. We see them lining up for an initial aggression. Stolly somehow does not get hit and opts to follow it up with a nade, maybe get some
They pushed ahead. I don't think anybody on the site was ready for that. And it's like, oh, it's actually taking a lot of damage.
You are divided!
The Astro ultimate does go up. We did see the story all over the site, giving them some extra support. And they hadn't even entered sight, especially off of Mushi's wall. That wall now goes out along with the defender Killjoy lockdown as they start to rotate through spawn over to A site, but we can already see Tegan has rotated over along with Historia very close behind. And we are going to see Koba starting to go towards mid to make sure that they aren't doing a mid to B. And probably will end up going through
Obscuring,
vents
blocking vision.
if a plant is to come through. We do see a Sky Flash come through from Bliss as they try and push through the Omen Smoke as well from Historia.
Beacon's able to lurk ahead of the smoke.
Yeah, but they decided to turn around off of that. They decided to split, and Historia's not good for not one, but two.
Spike down
And
A.
the spike is now down, but they don't know that there's some pushed up ramps. And it looks like there's nobody from heaven, if you notice. We do
I
see
think
one
Shannon
Sky.
got shot at.
Yeah, Shannon's kind of pinned in CT right now.
30
He doesn't have
seconds left.
control.
One
Historia
enemy
decides to
remaining.
opt back from ramps, and they know that the last one is there. Historia does fall after a nice little 3K, leaving Soju up in a 1v3 situation here. And we are going to see them with a few shots, giving Shannon the pick, giving them a 12-10, and definitely a comeback from the last half with a 7-5.
Match point.
Now to a 12-10 match point, and obviously they have better guns. And we're going to see a half buy from Team Bad Headshot because there's nothing else that they can really do after the last round.
They've actually managed to force up a surprising amount of rifles. I think the economy was a little bit better than I thought. They do have the full loss bonus at their disposal. And maybe Lesbian actually was able to carry over a lot of money going into this final round. But I wonder if that came at the cost of seeing some util elsewhere.
Yeah,
Again,
Tegan's
a
been
mid-tier.
very reserved with that operator. You can see, I think they were at like almost 9k in money, even though they have the op. We are seeing some mid aggression here again from Team Bad Headshot. They seem to like mid from being defending it to attacking it. And this time, looks like they are rotating back towards A for that
Spike
initial
down, mid.
aggression from Heatstroke. Maybe they saw the smokes and like, this is an A hit, but now it looks like they've over-rotated and now have opened up mid or B heaven for the rest of the team, other than Koba there.
There's an
If
very
Koba
bad
falls
position
this
right
B, it is not losing. And Soju was able to find one before getting traded by Stolly with that.
Bring them down.
Two are trapped in male here, as the rest of the team now is starting to group up to halt this B heaven push, and they kind of look pinned a little bit. Are going to clear out mid with that Skybird and opt to then instead go towards vent because they know no one's there, versus they knew somebody was heaven from Stolly falling, or from Stolly finding that pick off of Sojuapa, and they're opting to go towards A where that trademark and Shannon are waiting to play off of it.
Yeah. I think they accidentally read into the right position.
30 seconds
The
left.
Prowler didn't spot anyone in Vale, despite there being two players right outside of it. And because of that, Team Chunksters is actually fully rotated back to A. Stolly gets a better idea and is
One
able to
enemy
spot both of
remaining.
them, finds me Big Lesbian,
Spike
and now
down,
at this point
B.
it's all down to Bliss. The
10 seconds
captain
left.
of her team trying to find a position that she can play from, but there's no time. Spike not able to go down, and
it's a
this
GG.
map is over.
Yeah, it's an
Defenders
interesting
win.
decision for Bliss to opt to stay in that hell position, even with the nade from Stolly coming through. Maybe they thought they were going to push off of it, and they just didn't. And with that, tried to get one pick before planting and ran out of time, giving Shannon not one, but 2 wins for the evening.
But again, a very valiant effort coming out from Bliss's team Bad Headshots. There is a lot to work with there. Everyone seemed to be on point, especially Heatstroke. 30 and 13 on
I
an
know.
Astra is absolutely insane.
And that's why I personally, even though she's not meta anymore, love Astra as a character. Her kit's one of the more difficult ones to master, which is why she's not played as much, but once you have it under control, you can use it either to delay a site, you can use it to enter and aggress a site by closing down angles. And you saw Heatstroke do just that, whether it was a 1v1 situation or holding down that B site in the first half. So even though they lost with the 10-13, like you said, 30-13, very impressive.
So that is going to do it for the Gen.G and Galorants game night. We hope to see you on our next game night, which is going to be in October. This is a bi-monthly event. Bi-monthly meaning every other month, not every other week. So just take note of that. But yeah, again, thank you so much to Gen.G for pretty much like just helping host. This is a really great event, and I'm so glad that we're seeing big name esports organizations going out of their way to help foster a really encouraging and diverse community in Valorant. And again, thank you to Galorants. A phenomenal place, very supportive. Highly recommend checking it out if you are a woman, marginalized gender, non-binary player, just anyone who can benefit from the space. But yeah, that will do it for us tonight. Again, I'm Alias at I'm Alias handle on Twitter. Zobi, if you want to say anything before we sign off.
Yeah, like you said, fostering community, that's what this event was all about. Big thanks to BlissKai and to ArrumieShannon for coming out to mentor these teams. I bet they had a blast just getting to learn from them as content creators, as competitors. And thank you again for the chance to commentate alongside you again, Alias, and we hope you guys have a great night. I'm Zobi.
I'm Alias. Peace out, y'all.
Bye!